Morning. It's Thursday, March 31st. Tuesday, at the men's club, I was complaining about the speed at which things get done in this country. And one of my compatriots said, it's democracy. And democracy just takes longer to get things done because everybody has a right to speak up and put in their 2 or 3 cents. And so things get stuck in the system, so to speak, right? They just lay around and don't seem to get done. And one of the things I really was upset about is how long it's taking the January 6th committee to get their work done. And then whenever they get their work done, it has to go to the Justice Department to take action if there's any criminal activity. And that was the basis for my complaint about the speed at which we go in this country. So because of that, I put out a little blurb, a little question to my good friend Google, can we speed up democracy? And I got so many strange answers and so many difficult things to read that I kind of gave up. But then I found an article that gave me a bunch of interesting statistics. So I'm going to throw some of these out at you and see if you really agree. Listen to them and see if you really agree. I think I agreed with most of what these things said. But I think it'd be interesting to put them out in my rant today. And that's what I'm going to do. Now, according to this article, most Americans believe in democracy. But there's about 1 in 5 who would support an authoritarian as a leader. The article also pointed out that while Americans believe in democracy, the democracy they believe in differs in different quadrants or sections of this country. When they define what's going on in this country, it's really about the 2 parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. And 6 in 10 Americans think that the system can change, but they don't agree on the direction of change. So both sides want changes, but they don't want the same changes. And we see that every day. And I'll cite the example of Ketanji Brown Jackson, where one group of legislators will definitely all vote no, and on the other side they will all vote yes, and the vice president will make the difference. She will obviously vote yes. And that's what's going on in this country, and that's why it is so slow. Democracy means the rule of the people, but Americans do not fully agree about who belongs to the people. There are areas of agreement across partisan and ideological lines, and some in this country believe to be truly American, you must believe in God, you must identify as a Christian, and you must be born in the United States. And we have a lot of people who believe that. So we have immigration and religious values that interfere with the true process of a democracy. And these divisions are dangerous. They are dangerous because they slow us down. They interfere with getting things done. And it all comes under the issue about rights. So as we continue to look about who is truly American, 70% of Republicans believe that America's culture and way of life have changed for the worse since the 1950s, while 63% of Democrats believe that it has changed for the better. Strong majorities of Republicans believe that the country has changed so much that I often feel like a stranger in my country. And the American way of life must be protected from foreign influences. And the majorities of Democrats reject these propositions. And I think if you take a big, broader look at this in the way, this clearly indicates that the civil rights movement has caused a lot of the differences that we are fighting right now. In the last few years, we have seen much political violence, and 39% of Republicans are fine with that, and 31% of independents are okay with that, but only 17% of the Democrats agreed with political violence. And they claim, these groups are claiming, that if the elected leaders cannot protect America, then we have to do it ourselves. The people have to do it. So 17% of independents and 30% of Republicans and 11% of Democrats agreed that they might have to resort to violence to save our country. Well, I guess there are plenty of people out there who agreed with what happened on January 6th. And it's not only, maybe only half of us disagree. And of course, many in this country object to the way our voting systems work, because each state has a different set of rules. And 36% of the people in this country claim that the rules are making it too difficult for eligible voters to vote. But there's 45% who said the rules are not strict enough to prevent illegal votes from being cast. And that's one of the largest problems we face in this country. And we're watching our country go downhill as states across the nation inflict upon their populations a set of rules that are untenable. And then the other states claim that they're doing it correct, and there are many things that might be too lenient in some states. And so I wonder why there can't be a national set of rules that all states use. But then that would infringe upon the rights of the states. And you can see that in Congress we can't get a Voting Acts law passed. So I start out looking for how to speed up democracy, and I find out all this information about our divided country. So the bottom line in this article is that if democracy fails in America, it will not be because the majority of Americans are fed up with democracy and they want a non-democratic form of government. It will be because an organized, dedicated minority seizes strategic positions within the system and subverts the substance of democracy while retaining its shell. Now that verbiage is right out of the article. And we can see that the majority in this country is not well organized or doesn't care enough to resist. And the minority is taking advantage of all the situations that it possibly can take advantage of. So I think we have to watch closely what's really happening in America, in our so-called democracy. And all of this started because I was looking for a way to speed up the legislative actions in this country. And I failed in finding anything that would help in that area. And I hope I haven't upset you.